to be an effective leader, you have to take care of yourself first.
It's not about running 100 miles. It's about running 1 mile 100 times.
Their thought is, what happens if I fail? What the hell happens if you succeed?
How you do one thing is how you do everything in my books.
Yeah. It's about your physical. It's about your mental. It's about those things that you're doing in the dark that nobody actually gets to see. All right, guys, we ready for another podcast of Obsession Required?
Let's do it.
All right. Everybody watching today, it's going to be a little different. We're going to, not so much controversial, but probably just talk about a little bit of journey and transformation that I think all three of us are working on regularly. But man, let's talk about health and fitness and the importance of where it fits in, not just into your life, but where it fits into business, how maybe it attracts business, how maybe it attracts the people that come to you because of the shape that you're in. And some people may, be like, well, I don't have to be in good shape to do business. It's not so much saying you have to be in good shape to do business, but what did you see changed when you really started physically getting better in shape?
Well, I think for the first time in this podcast, the roles have reversed, right? Originally it was 0 to $1 million with Talon in his business, $1 million to 10 with mine, and 10 to 100 with yours. But now, he's the $100 million athlete. I'm still in the middle,
yeah.
and then there's
and then
you,
I'm
like
zero.
I'm trying to do a wall ball.
Yeah,
I love this. That's
Yeah.
funny. I like that.
damn wall balls.
I think a cool spot for this would be where I started out. So in the military, I worked with Marine Reconnaissance. I did not pass BRC. We can go to that whole tangent. But I was stationed in Okinawa with 3rd Recon. And what I noticed is that I was going on these patrols, and I'd done plenty of them, but I was dying. And I realized that if I ever wanted to be good at my job, I had to elevate my fitness level. And then being around some of the Recon Marines, they had gotten into CrossFit. And I'm like, you know what? If it works for them, it's going to work for me. So then I basically started not spending my time in the barracks, but spending my time at the gym. And what I realized is I became more capable at my job. I became essentially what they were training to me be outside of being a corpsman, which was a better killer. I became more efficient. I became an asset. So that was really the start point for me, was out of necessity, knowing that I was going to go to combat and I needed to be able to take care of my guys, and I was not in that position to do so. And that's kind of where this all started. What I noticed, though, is the more that I got into it, the more clear I could think, the more I wanted to pursue with my life. I realized, hey, look, this is great. I'm now much better at my job. Instead of me having to take these breaks, I can motivate and take care of my team better. But then I wanted to pursue more, see how far I could take it. And then getting out and having to start school with absolutely nothing, having taken on all these difficult sort of trials in the military and pushing myself that way, like doing a drunk dare, running 36 miles just because somebody said I couldn't do it, that all these hard challenges in this pursuit of fitness made me realize I was capable of much, much more mentally and in my career. And that started school. That started me opening up a business. And it sort of led this entire transformation throughout my life that hadn't previously been there despite me being an athlete. So I think that was pretty cool for me to actually have the real world necessity of it being a life or death situation, which I had to take my fitness to Afghanistan with me, to leaving, making it not only in my career and my passion, but watching what else it did for my life from the standpoint of I've done hard things physically, I can do hard things mentally, and I can push myself much farther than I ever thought. So that's kind of where this whole thing started for me. Now, my perspective is to be an effective leader, you have to take care of yourself first. Am I saying that you have to be able to do 100 wall ball unbroken? Coming back to that? No, but you have to focus on yourself and essentially establishing that mindset as I'm going to make sure that I'm whole and I'm going to work on making progress in my life. And that starts with a lot of physicality. I think Andy Elliott, you know Andy pretty well.
Yeah.
He's very big on that.
Yep.
And it comes down to is people want to be led by somebody, I don't want to say who has a certain appearance, but who takes care of themselves, who makes themselves a priority and has a strong presence. And there's a lot to be said about that in business, I think, when you enter a room. If you enter a room and you're 300 pounds overweight and you're coming to talk to me about health, I'm not going to listen to you.
Yep.
But if you walk in and you're in shape and you have a presence about you, I'm going to listen to you. Same thing if you walk in the room, your presence about sales and you're a physically, demanding person as strong there, and okay, I'm locked in. This guy has not only worked on his business, but he's worked on himself. Yeah. And it's a huge factor that a lot of people are missing out on.
Well, and if you're looking for that little edge, when you're walking into that room, whether it's a sales or something like that, and you need, what's that one little piece? Well, this guy took a look, or lady took a look at me, because when I walked in the room, I was clean cut. I was in shape. I was, that was my little bit of difference before I ever sat down and got to make my pitch.
First impressions are everything. That's the truth. That's the darn truth. And, I'm not going to say anybody that works for me needs to be to my level of athleticism, but I'm not hiring anybody that's sloppy. I'm just not. You might be the most qualified Harvard grad, magna cum laude, whatever. If you're sloppy, it ain't working. Because you're not taking care of everything. How you do one thing is how you do everything in my books.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying you need to be a marathon runner, but taking care of yourself. And it was interesting. I was watching a interview. It was about Mark Cuban, and basically they were making the point that, like, when you walk into a room, and this is not physicality, but this is just appearance in general, that when you walk into a room, and you see everybody in suits, and then there's the one guy in the t-shirt in the back that's kind of slouching. That's the guy you want to talk to, because he's the one with all the money. But at the end of the day, and that was, again, it was Cuban, right? It's very easy to say that. He's extremely wealthy. But I also take pride in the way that I am in my appearance, right? I don't need to be wearing a suit jacket. When the gun industry, when you go to SHOT Show, everybody's in
tactical gear,
tactical pants and a polo.
Yeah.
Right. And you look at our crew, and it's like a damn Milan runway show.
Yeah.
And not only because we have like fashionistas in the group, and we have like my background in the fashion industry, and you got girls that really care about themselves and guys that just want to, but it looks good. And when you come in buttoned up, when you come in physically in shape, you're right. It portrays that this person cares not only about their business, but themselves. And actually, if you care about yourself and your physicality and your mental health, that's only going to make your business that much stronger.
Well, and even for you, though, at the same time, you're living your brand.
Yeah.
Your brand is hunting and fishing, but it's also a lifestyle magazine of even more of what's outside of that, because a lot of the celebrities that you put on your cover, they're not just camo and that. They're all about the fashion. They're about the other things that go on with being a celebrity, or being, whoever it is you have on. I remember one the other day, you had somebody that was in the gun industry that was she was a shooter, and I won't remember her name, but she was maybe with a Glock or something. Anyways, and you had an article about her in your magazine, but she was also into fashion. She was more than just being out there about shooting. She was portraying, hey, I'm also a woman at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important. And so you're living your brand is what you're exuding when you walk into that room.
Yeah, and I think the face of the outdoors is changing so much, and we don't need to get into all that because it's more of a we're not focused on my business, but the face.
Oh, we are. We're
right
opening
in
it up. Yeah, it's dissecting.
Did that girl in the magazine have a red shirt on?
I do believe so.
Okay.
Yeah,
thought so.
Anyway, I don't even know where my thought was.
I got him.
We're here for you.
No. The outdoor industry, though, it's changing. It is changing, and it's because a lot of people have moved into the urban areas and into the suburban areas because that's where the jobs and money's at.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, not everybody is Billy Bob and Redneckville, Middle America.
Well, absolutely.
It's everybody else. And if you look at the new faces, right? Like I've spoken on this before, called the Haynes-Rogan effect is what I call it, because of Cameron Haynes and Joe Rogan, what they have done to the industry, how they've changed physicality. Then you get all the people they associate with, Jocko and David Goggins, and all those different people from that particular group of friends. And the industry is changing for us too. So fitness is what the new young guys are doing. Like the hunting industry is not so much about taking your 30-06, going out to a buddy, out to a blind with a buddy and eating freaking Twinkies up there anymore. It's about backcountry hunting. It's about bow hunting. It's not always about killing. It's about the actual journey behind it all. So, that's part of it too. But back to what we were talking about, it's very true. How you take care of one thing is how you take care of everything. And so if you can't take care of yourself, which is the most important thing, how can I trust you with my business?
Yeah. Well, that's a big enough statement in itself right there.
100%.
Definitely find the fact that, I'll go for myself. I go back a little over a year ago, I was pushing 250 pounds, and I can carry that weight because I'm really tall, but I didn't need to carry that weight. Now I will go from 250 down to 208. And I think now I've kind of leveled out at about 215. And I want to gain a little bit of weight back through, lifting weight and building muscle. But, everybody along the way, hey man, you're looking good. They see that. They see the difference. And not only that, you start attracting, not so much attracting from like people are like, oh, he's good looking. You just attract different people around you. That whatever aura that you've got,
energy.
That energy,
100%.
yes, and that vibe that you're putting out, people pay attention to it. And not only that, I started carrying myself a little more confident at the same time, because I didn't feel like the big, tall guy that was dum-da-dum-da-dum.
Well, that's like, man, I could go down a rabbit hole about this, but our damn society, I mean, just if you look at like, and I don't mean this in any kind of chauvinistic way, but if you look at like what Victoria's Secret did when they put the plus size models on the runway, well, we see how long that lasted, right? This whole movement of it's okay to be out of shape, or she's just plus size, or whatever these sayings are, right? No, it's not true. That's not right at all. If you look at, I mean, you're in the medical community. Yeah. Is a skeleton any bigger than a fat person?
Oh, no, not at all. Like your joints and muscles and bones are all just, you have no muscle pretty much, but your joints and bones are just crushed. I mean, there's so many negative side effects.
It's the same size. It's the same size skeleton as in me as if I was 500 pounds, right? And that's what's sad. And again, another American thing that just gets me fired up is all these GLP-1s. Like, let's just take a stab and we're fine. We're going to lose weight. Well, we're not talking about how it's destroying muscle. We're not talking about what it's doing to, important fat contents in your body. We don't even know what the long-term outcome is, and you know a lot more about it. Yeah. But it's indicative of just that mindset of, okay, I could look better by just taking a jab, but you didn't get the grit that comes along with building it. You didn't get the pride of what you've done, the sacrifices. You didn't get the discipline. You didn't get the consistency.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you've gotten skinny. But what you are now is skinny fat.
Yeah.
You're skinny fat, and that's not good either.
And you hit up a great point, and I think that's one of the things too. Is like I'm not describing in physical fitness. Yeah, we got him. He's awake. He's awake, boys.
I'm putting too much
Diane's
work
coming
now.
out.
Now you're coming out just getting a shot, and I put in 20 years worth of work.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not so much that, right? Like, and this just kind of in my opinion, what I look at when people are like, I'm doing GLP-1 and that, like you're taking a shortcut. Everybody wants a shortcut, and I'm not saying you have to look a certain specific way, right? Like we're not getting at that. What I'm getting at is, if somebody comes in and you know that they're in shape, and I'm not saying you're not freaking, Hunter McIntyre or anybody like that, but if somebody comes in and they're in shape, they put work. There was discipline that went into that. There was no shortcuts that were taken, and that's true in fitness, and that's true in life. To get there's really no shortcuts except for hard work. And like your body, in a way, is almost like a business card. And I don't mean that in any perfect thing. It's a business card, because you're coming in there and that they put work in. Like, that they had to get there to do that. And if they're disciplined enough to go to the gym an hour per day just to make sure that they're, making progress, that they're healthy, like you said, Johnny, they're going to come and they're going to work their ass off in your business, because that's just what they're built to do. They've built that resilience. They've built that grit. And more than anything, like you guys have said, they built that discipline. And
what I want to know, dude, what has happened, and we're going to go off track here a little bit, but what has happened to men in this damn country? Because I look at who's working out in the gym, I'm like, what are you two yum-yums doing over there? Like, you got a tripod on, your one's wearing Birkenstocks. Like, in high school, I would have got my ass beat.
John's going to a different gym.
No, I'm going to Lifetime Fitness.
I know.
And it's like, and it's funny, and the body dysmorphia runs strong in the Radswilla household with me, because I grew up in that 80s culture, right? Mm-hmm. Of like
Stallone, Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. So, but what did I do? I bought Jack, 6-year-old son, because we just watched Kindergarten Cop. He's like, who's that guy? And I was like, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger. I just bought him a flag. It's one of those like motivational flags you see in the gym. And it says, you could have results or you could have excuses, but you can't have both. And it's Arnold with his shirt off. And Natalie goes, well, I'm cool with it, but like, I don't know if I want the naked dude in my son's room. I'm like, no. You want our son looking at Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. That's the guy. You don't want him looking at freaking, Techie Tim over here on the Game Boy or whatever.
Well, this is
Arnold. You want the Arnold?
Yeah. Well, just go back to that too, right? And it's just
nobody glorifies nerds.
Yeah.
John and nerds, man.
Well,
this is
I'll take a step further.
Go back to the very first podcast. He went off on nerds.
Because I've got a 6-year-old boy. He was watching Ninja Turtles recently. When did the Ninja Turtles become skinny? They used to be jacked Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now they're like,
we're gonna have to ask Hollywood about that one.
oh my gosh, I'm telling you, we're screwing ourselves.
Where was I going with that, man? I was gonna
talk
say
about Arnold Schwarzenegger and body dysmorphia.
well, not so much. It's just that hard times create hard men.
Yep.
And then hard men create easy times. And then easy men create easy men. And then easy men create hard times, which brings back hard men. And that's just kind of where we're at in society. Like things are like, again, people trying to take shortcuts. We've gotten to this place of just complacency in our country where like the average man isn't really pursuing what can he do physically and mentally or that. Everybody's fine with having a shortcut or a handout. Yeah. And I mean, you can be like, oh, like, what are you speaking from? 60% of America is obese.
It's
like
crazy.
It's crazy. So when you think about that, like, oh, you can't say the majority, bro. 60% is majority. That mindset is rampant.
Yeah. And not only do we do it to ourselves because of the poor choices we make, and this will bring me back to where I'm like dissatisfied currently with the food side of this administration. I mean, I was hoping RFK was going to come here and clean house. I mean, we got Red 40 banned by 2028. And I really don't know what else has come out of that office. But if we look at our food system, you just came back from Europe. So not only you experience how clean that food is over there and the difference in ingredients. And that's why I love the European areas so much, because I could eat whatever I want and not put on any kind of weight. But then you mix it in with America's ability just to take the easy route a lot of times. And it drives me nuts. 60% of the country is obese. GLP-1s are like the new cool thing to do. We glorify nerds, and nobody puts in the hard work.
Well, I mean, also too, and in Europe, you have to remember like their culture is very much you're going to walk to where you go. Like Andy, you're on your trip saying how it's so much faster to be able to walk to this town than outside of it.
Yeah.
Like that's their every day, but that's basis. People look at going on a 30-minute walk in America as hard and or fitness, and like, dude, like what, like that's every day in Europe.
Yeah, like
we were putting in 20 to 25,000 steps a day.
Yeah,
I think I saw the stat. Americans average between 3,000 to 5,000.
Yeah,
that's the average. I'm like, what?
I blew the scale on. I pulled up my app on my phone, and I was like, and it's like throwing me all these awards and stuff out. Like I just won in the Olympics or something, and it was the fact that I walked 25,000 steps in a day, and and then the average of what I had walked for the whole year changed just in the 18 days that I was there. And but they do, and a lot of it is because one, they've set their towns up to where walking is important.
Yeah,
they try to do their communities. It seemed like, and I don't know this for a fact, but set their communities up to where everything is about walking and getting around. So you're not using your vehicles. That those aren't putting the impact on Mother Nature or whatever around their communities. And, but it also gives them a chance to go out and walk it all off.
Yeah.
A little bit of exercise isn't going to kill you. So let's go back to that, being that your body is your walking billboard, basically.
Absolutely.
That's your advertising card when you walk into a room to give somebody, So, what do you tell somebody though what are your first steps of getting into, if somebody wanted to make that change of, I'm not happy where I'm at. I'm not happy doing what it is I'm currently doing. I want to make a 180 on where I'm at. Not so much, my total appearance, but I do want to make a change. I want to go in. I don't want to do the GLP-1. Some people, the GLP-1 or however you say that, that may be a good thing for them. And I'm not advocating it or anything like that. I'm just saying maybe that's their jump start. Maybe they needed that little step to help them cut a little bit of the weight so that they saw the progression of getting started, so that it triggers their mind, oh, this is good. I don't need to do this. Now I'm doing it on my own, and I continue to work out. I don't know.
See, I would almost disagree in a sense, because you're reinforcing the easy way.
Absolutely.
And you're going to get addicted to what you're going to see. You're going to get addicted to those results.
It's a reward pathway.
And it's a reward pathway to nowhere. It's a false reward. I think for me, the way that I approach, and I'm pretty sure you probably would agree, Talon, is like I try to break down the barrier to entry into physicality and discipline and health. And I don't advocate for losing 20 pounds. I'm like, just be 1% better every day. What can you do today to better yourself that you're better tomorrow? And then keep improving 1% every day. And eventually it all adds up. Like this isn't a race. You're not trying to compete for Mr. Olympic over here or whatever. Like you're just trying to be better. And if you just take a pragmatic approach, and the only way to eat an elephant's one bite at a time. Mm-hmm. And I mean, maybe that's a bad analogy considering the topic we're talking about.
I'm done with it.
But it's the truth. You just got to be 1% better every day.
Well, I think that for me, it's like, you have to do something to get started. And the case that I come into is that people are trying the same thing over and over again and getting the exact same results. That's called insanity. Yeah. So like you need to find somebody. If you can't do that on yourself, like you need to go to a gym, you need to find a trainer, and everybody's barrier to that is like, oh, well, I don't want to pay the money. Okay, well, like you're not going to invest in yourself and your health, which is probably like the most important thing. There was a reel of a monk, and he says, when somebody's healthy, they have 100,000 problems, but when you're sick, you have one problem.
Yes,
and that's And there's nothing more true to that. So when people have a barrier of investing money, and they're like, this isn't a pitch for my gym. This is like, go find yourself a personal trainer at 24 Hour Fitness. I don't care. You need to find something that's going to stop you from having that same result over and over again, which is you stopping and resetting. So you need to figure out what that is. And, a trainer, a gym, somebody's going to provide you accountability, but then have the discipline to show up. Mm-hmm. And that's just it. And the barrier for entry, like, yeah, you might have to pay, I don't know, like Lifetime's a couple $100s or something, but you go there, they have all these services and amenities. You're going to have to pay a couple $100s to get somewhere solid. But we're talking about adding years to your life with your family. For $200 a month, I'll take it.
Yeah,
well,
100%.
Not to mention, too,
I'll take it.
When you join a big gym like that, so now Jack is in the gym culture.
Absolutely.
So he's going to the gym. He's working out, doing some of these alpha classes they have at Lifetime. He's now in the kids' summer camp. He now wants to go to the gym. He now wants to work out. He's 5 years old.
That's what you want.
He does not have coordination yet. But he's still wanting to do it. At the HYROX race, you saw him trying to do burpees. He loves to try to get on the rower and do them. Like, it's the culture you also breed, because once you start changing yourself, you start changing those around you, up into including your family.
Well, I mean, and Andy was hitting on this. Like, John, I remember, when you got started into HYROX, I said, hey, do you want to do this PFT? And you were at a bar drinking and you came in. And I think, Andy, you hit on this earlier too. You literally went from doing a HYROX PFT to 100% all in. And then, like, it turns out that, like, you're this, like, fitness savant, runner savant that we didn't even know about. And like,
I think we discovered that in the Run Across America.
Yeah, there. But I'm just saying, but truly, like, I mean, he's not going to say it, but like, he easily runs a sub 6 minute mile. Do you know how hard that is to do? And like, not only that, like, you've just gone through this transformation of like working with me to where like you're at this next level. And I think it's crazy too, because like, as you're making this breaking point in business, like, I'm just watching your business take off. And I'm not going to say like correlation equals causation.
No, it is.
But I was going to say there's something to be said, because you just became this completely like insane athlete from like going straight to Open Pro and HYROX, running an hour race your first time. And it's like, dude, like, you did all of this like that. And it's just crazy to see that.
But your fitness has raised your energy level.
I would
kill him a little bit.
Yeah, I would definitely debate that. No, but ultimately it does.
Yeah.
I mean, the dopamine and all the different things that get released through workout. I mean, first off, there's an old saying, health is wealth, but it truly is. And it helps you in your business. The discipline to show up to the gym is the same discipline to show up to your desk. Yep. The energy that you get from working out in the long term or in the long run is the same energy now that you could put extra into your job. And, recently, I mean, but along with all the fitness and stuff, and depending on what level you get to, comes injury. Like,
oh yeah.
But here's a great example, right? So I ended up having to have knee surgery recently on my knee. I'm less than 3 weeks out right now. And it was from a ton of overexertion and overabuse, and just not giving my time to recover, and nothing about your programming. It's just my personality.
Well, also movement patterns too, we discussed.
Yeah, like movement patterns, all the things.
A weak butt.
Yeah. Wall balls. No. No, but here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
So I take care of myself physically. I take care of myself nutritionally. I really don't drink. I mean, I might have a glass of wine here and there. I won't say I don't drink. That's a blanket statement, but I rarely drink anymore. I look at my nutrition and my supplements. Also, I'm 40 years old, so I start looking at hormone levels, testosterone levels, and I found ways around TRT and other ways to improve my testosterone. And so those different things that I'm doing have led to a recovery time that normally is 6 to 8 weeks on this. Just last Sunday, 17 days post-op, I ran a 5K. Is it recommended? No. Did it damage it? No. But did I do it 17 days post-op? Absolutely. And the reason I did was because I made the investment in myself years ago that led to my recovery time. Higher testosterone, better nutrition, not having poisons in your body, healthy recovery, sleep, all the things led to me being back back running again, but also back to my business again. Like I wasn't like, oh man, I'm out of the office for 3 weeks.
Yep.
No, man, I was back in day. Matter of fact, the moment that I woke up.
Oh, I know. Here we go.
We got it.
No, the moment I woke up, literally Natalie said, hey, so-and-so accepted the job offer. And I picked up the phone and called him. I still had things in my arm.
Yeah.
And I was waking up and doing that. So again,
and you were also posting on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yes, you were. Yes, he was. Can confirm.
Yes.
So, I mean, that just goes back to it as well. And I mean, if we're talking about like how this even, translates to business, it's that mindset of like, you're used to like doing things that you don't want to do when things are hard. I'm sure the last thing you want to do, I mean, obviously wake up and handle your business, but like you're used to like, hey man, like I have to do this right now. The importance of calling this guy and thanking him is huge, and you're just right out of surgery. But that's just like a mindset that you've drilled into yourself just from that discipline of like, you're going to do what you have to do. You might not want to do immediately, because that's what essentially working out is a lot of the time. Yeah. Like I work a 12-hour shift and I go to the gym, and I am at the gym from 10:40 p.m. until midnight. I come back home, have to handle more business stuff, go to bed at 2 a.m., wake back up, go to work, and I do this all over again. But I've built it in that I have to absolutely do that. And the same thing with my business. I have to get this done. I will stay up till 2 a.m., do whatever I need to do because it has to be done. Not that I want to do it, but it's just that mindset of the discipline is just so ingrained in me that it's just become, it's habit. It's who I am now. It's not even like, I wouldn't even describe it as like, I have to do it. It's what I do.
I feel like I just became the bitch in the group.
See, we told you at zero. He's at a million.
I'm at zero. I mean, listening to it, I mean, it is because working out for me, I mean, like when I was younger, I was in my 20s and stuff like that. Yeah, I was playing basketball and doing that. So I was exercising regularly. Got older, injuries, didn't do any of it anymore. Let myself, just completely deteriorate. Not that I got fat or anything like that. I just wasn't physically in shape anymore. And then I started doing it again and finding out how much harder it was. I mean, I've got, 10 years on both of y'all. And in 10 years, that difference is real.
Absolutely.
So you're so far ahead of the curve already by keeping that pace than where I was starting a year ago of coming back and going, okay, I gotta try and figure this out again. Yeah. And but I've noticed such a change, man. I mean, for me, the change is dramatic, which wouldn't probably, for y'all, it may not be as dramatic because you were already in good shape to continue to stay in good shape. But when you come from being out of shape and work at getting into being okay shape, you can, not just how I feel, but man, my brain started working clear, and that was one of my big things. I'm going on this journey of building what I'm trying to go to this next level. Being a sloth wasn't going to be the way I was going to go to that next level.
That's why it's not one of the 7 deadly sins, man.
Yeah. And our food, you say it does it to you.
Dude, our food's terrible in this country. And
it's insane.
I feel trapped in a way. Like that's why part of me is like, how can I figure out how to do as much as I can remote and move to a place with good food? It's not that I don't love America. I love America, but what I do not like about America is our food system primarily.
But you can find good food here. I mean, I've made that change.
Yeah,
I've hired a nutrition. You do pay for it,
and you're gonna have to go find it. Like it's hard to find good food even in Texas. Like I'd say if I moved to California and found a farmer's market where it's organic, all that kind of stuff, you probably could get it done. When I was in Montana and Idaho last summer doing van life, it was really easy to find that stuff. But it's really hard to go to an Albertsons down here in Texas and find fresh seafood, fresh.
And that's what's crazy.
Stuff.
When we were in Europe, we were in, I think we were in Madrid, and they have this open-aired market place that they had there in Madrid that you walk through, and it's seafood, it's meats, it's everything, and you're just walking through it. I mean, your mouth's just salivating of where do I want to stop and order something?
Yeah.
And the place is just slam packed.
And that's how all these cities are. Like when you were in Barcelona, did you go to La Boqueria? There on the Las Ramblas?
Probably. It's
a huge
shopping market. Yes.
A huge market of food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we went in there, and the seafood in there that they had was unreal. But we don't have that much of that. You've got your Whole Foods and you got your Central Market and probably Sprouts or whatever, but
you got to look for it and you got to pay for it.
It's expensive as hell here. But it's important, and and that's why reason why I started onto the food thing is the importance of that. Where that change comes. I hired a nutritionist. And you know her, and she does a great job. She prepares a meal plan for me every week. And I get all our food pre-made, so it's already prepped, and all I got to do is stick it in the microwave, luckily, and be done with it. But it's really not that expensive compared to what I was paying to go out to eat every night.
Oh, going out to eat's horrible.
It is horrible. It's horrible for you. It's horrible with the food you're getting at most places. But it wasn't that expensive to eat healthy. No. Is what I'm getting at for two people. I'm spending like $500 a week to eat healthy for two people. We were spending $500 on 2 nights out at dinner.
Yeah.
And then I didn't realize how expensive dinner really wasn't when you cut out the drinking.
Yeah, imagine that.
Wow.
That
$35 a meal is $465 in Grey Goose.
Exactly. So, that went down, which was really cool. But, talk about that part, though, also the importance of the food that you're putting in your body that gives you that fuel and that power to be able to go out every day and keep that discipline. Because if you're eating bad food constantly, you're not going to have that energy. I don't care how hard you work out. If you're putting shit inside your body constantly, the next day you're not going to want to work out.
And I'm going to let him speak to this because he's more the medical guy, but I will say this. God gave us a Ferrari to live within, and it's your choice whether to run on 87 or 93.
Yeah,
so
100%. Yeah, and I mean, I'm the first to say it. I don't have the best diet in the world, but essentially,
you mean Monster Dip and Chick-fil-A?
Look, first of all, it's
good.
Hey, nicotine and caffeine, my friend. That's the diet. No, but it's almost like what you put into your body is like what you get out of it, right? Same thing with like thinking. If you're constantly thinking negative, like you're going to be a negative person. If you put positive into your body, like you're going to be a positive person. If you put shit into your body, you're going to feel like shit. Yep. Period. Like your workouts are going to feel worse. I know days when I actually have like days that I've prepared my meals at home, I've meal prepped, having basmati rice, some lightly seasoned chicken, and some veggies. Like when I'm stacking those meals right with a solid breakfast, I go in and crush a workout. Yeah. Days where I eat like trash, I mean, even at the hospital going into work, just trying to slam calories in. Like, do I work out? Yeah, but it doesn't feel nearly as good as when I'm properly fueled and I've had really, really good clean food.
And you got to do that for a while. It's not like you have a good
not
meal.
One meal.
Yeah, there's a build up to it, and I mean that is so true. I mean, think about what happens when you run an engine on bad fuel. It's not going to perform.
It sputters.
It sputters. I mean, just all the
It'll
things.
Run.
It'll run.
But it ain't going far.
But I'll say the one thing that a lot of people then will do is they'll skip. They'll try to skip food. And I'll say, I personally believe that the worst cheat meal you could have is the meal you skip. I'd rather you eat fried chicken than skip a meal. Like that's even worse. A lot of times people just jump to that. Oh, well, I'm just not going to eat. I'll forgo this. That's even worse than eating no calories or eating crappy calories.
There's different aspects of that, but to the context of what you're saying, I'll give you that.
You're
for
talking
sure.
about fasting and all that.
Well, I'm talking about fasting, like doing fasted cardio, performance type stuff. Like if you're intentionally training that, but like if you're just eating not to eat, or for whatever reason, it's probably not with benefit because you're not doing it in the right context, in the right scenario, for the right purpose. So you have to be very intentional about how you do that and why you do that. But to what you said, for the most part.
And if you look at like Olympians too, like these guys they're eating machines because they're burning so much.
You talk about calories. I mean,
you have to.
Yeah. They're how many calories do you have today? 14,000.
Yeah. Like what? Yeah. But that's also Michael Phelps swimming, for 4 hours a day, right? I mean, so he has to.
It's a burning machine. It's no different than a locomotive. You got to continue to put wood in that engine to keep it fired up. Well, that's all he's doing. He's feeding the machine.
Well, it's like when we ran 40 miles for my birthday. I mean, at first, it didn't make sense to me why Talon was running with a gigantic bag of gummy nerds and sucking down Slurpees. But by the second 7-Eleven, I'm like, oh yeah, give me the Slurpees and the nerds right now.
That's what we call peak nutrition, by the way. Put only good things in your body when you're running 40 miles. Gotcha.
Yeah.
You have to fuel, man. And then that's one of those situations too. And like, I didn't want to deep dive. Like there's sometimes eating to perform and like actually like knowing what you're doing. And then there's just eating to eat. And then there's like your regular structured diet, which is what your foundation is going to be. And again, we'll talk about like ultra running, like doing all of that. That's a little bit, of its own niche per se when you talk about diet. But no, for the most part, man, like I said, you gotta, what you're putting into your body is what you're gonna get out of it.
So let's talk about how being fit, being in shape, the mindset that you have of the discipline going into the gym and everything. How's that help out with stress management and maybe decision making within the business? Because I want to constantly, bring this back
Absolutely.
to relate. How is this working at making you a better leader within the company? And, like I said, whether it's decision making or you actually dealing with stress within the company, because we always talk about that. That's, what's one of the biggest things that tears us down is stress that we're having to deal with constantly. And do you find that stress isn't near as bad because I stress myself in the gym or I stress myself running, and that builds up my tolerance to the stress that I have at my work?
I mean, I can lead into that. So obviously, like fitness, like that's my passion, right?
Yeah.
Like, but for me, like the gym and working out is where I find my peace. Doesn't matter like what it is, what's going on. If I'm stressed out, I have got to get to the gym. And I mean, it's proven the number of just mental benefits that exercising has. Like mentally, like what it does for you. And for me, it's an absolute stress reliever. And I feel like when I deal with stress that way, it's going to be much more healthy than me sitting at home and just internalizing it. I get there, I work out my stress, and when that stress is gone or whatever overwhelming feeling I'm feeling is gone, I can zone in on like, hey, like what really is going on right now that I need to navigate. You separate yourself from the situation, you go hard, you clear your mind, and then you come back in, and it's like we talked about, having that break, you're recentered and you're ready to go. And you can look at it from a more clear perspective because you're not allowing those emotions or negative feelings to impact you because you just slayed yourself in the gym.
So basically when you're at the gym, that is your, one, it's your stress reliever, but it takes you to now it's your fuel.
Absolutely.
To continue to move forward.
100%.
Because you've now taken what's fighting against your body as that stress being what's fighting against your body. Well, that stress led you to the gym, go work out. Now it's fueling your passion of what you want to move forward with.
And absolutely, it's true. And you can ask Jamie. I'll have days when I don't go to the gym, where I've
just
come
so
home.
everybody knows, Talon's wife's name's Jamie.
Yes,
also.
let's clarify this. We are not sharing partners.
It's really weird. They both spell their name the same though. They're,
Jaime.
Jaime.
I love it. But no, I'll have my days when I come home like really stressed, and my wife's first response to me is, "Have you been to the gym?"
Yeah.
And she just knows that I'm able and more capable of mentally tackling anything that I have in front of me once I've gone to relieve the stress. Like your endorphins get released, you're much more clear. Like, and in a way, you take yourself from this like sort of elevated emotional state and you wear yourself down to where you're like, okay, cool, I'm calm now. I just spent it at the gym. And like I said, let's focus on what's going on and just recalibrate.
Dude, and recalibrate is exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah.
That's funny because it's, you go through and you just recalibrate your emotions to the level that you need to be to be working at the right optimal level. It's crazy how that happens. And I didn't really understand it until now. I mean, I'm telling you now, I get that phone call when there's a stressful situation that comes on. Yeah, does the blood pressure maybe go up just a little bit, but it really doesn't. It just, okay, yeah. So what are our options here? What's the solution of how we're going to handle this? Versus, a year or two ago, I might have been like, well, shit, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And gone to that response. Well, what did I do to that other person on the other end of the line? Or if I'm sitting in front of John and John's working for me and I'm having this conversation, well, I just stressed him out.
Yeah.
And now I put him in that, now he's uneasy. So it's helped me calm down at the same time. And when you said recalibrate, that's exactly what the whole time 100%. You were saying that, that's what I was sitting there thinking. So I love hearing that.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's necessary. And I mean, I would even argue like that if you're a leader and you're not working out, like start working out and see what happens to your life, see what happens to your mind, see what happens to your business. And you will slowly find that the mentality that you essentially build in the gym, you're, like we said before, you're going to bring it to your business. It's going to really transform you. And it sounds stupid, but I swear to you, it is one of the most transformational things you can do. And I can dive into mental health. Like my actual doctorate project is on, group exercise and how it prevents depression.
Yeah.
Being a leader in our position with all the high highs and the low lows, like we're susceptible to being depressed very easily. Like I've been in a dark hole before, but I had the gym to rely on to just, again, get it all out and kind of find a great place to be in mentally during those tough times.
Well, and if you're not and this is what's good about fitness and health within what we're talking about, you may not be a leader right now because of the shape you're in, or that being that business card that we're talking about. You may just be working at a regular 9-to-5 job. Now you have those aspirations that, I want to do something different. Okay, well, change something. Go to the gym, start working out, see what it does for you, and the confidence that it builds in you. Then people are going to start going, okay, wait a minute, I see a difference in this guy. What is it that he or she's doing now that they weren't doing before? Because I like what I see. And then guess what? They're coming to you and going, hey, John, man, I'm interested in maybe you helping me on this project here, where before they never came over and talked to you.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, there's also the confidence side of things that the gym brings too. And I think the heavy lifting stuff is important, but I think if I had to advocate for a type of fitness that would correlate, at least how I see it correlate to the business world, is like a functional fitness kind of deal, right? Things that improve your body's capabilities, because if you could believe in your body, you could really believe in a lot more of your other capabilities too. Like when I'm staring at, 52 inches is 52 or 53 is my personal like high jump. Like I can stand flat footed, stack the boxes, and hit a 54 over and over again, like 3, 4, 5 times in a row. That's really high. But a lot of people just stare at that and go, that's not possible. I'll never do that. I'll never do that. And then they'll never do that. But if you could get to yourself a place in the gym physically where all of a sudden, like, holy shit, like that was really cool. I could do that, man. And I can't believe that. Well, how do you think that correlates to the rest of your life? If you look at this huge project, or you look at this huge thing you have to overcome in business, it might seem trivial, but if you breathe belief in yourself and you prove to yourself that you're capable of almost damn near anything.
Anything you want to set your mind to, you can close it out and make sure you get to it. Yep. You just got to find that right space and that right mindset to be in order to be able to get there.
Sometimes you just need to prove it to yourself. So physicality is a big part of it. I mean, I never thought that I could run 40 miles. That's why I chose to do that on my birthday. I never thought when I first started running that I could run, like I ran a 4:58 mile. I never thought at 40 years old I could run a sub 5 mile.
Yeah.
But I did it. And it's just again to prove it to myself, and then that correlates through so much of my life.
I ran a 4:58 mile once.
Yeah, 4 hours.
4 hours and 58 minutes.
I saw that one coming.
Yeah, it was a good mile.
I was screaming on that one.
I bet.
That's amazing.
And I can't get away from the fact of how much confidence though it builds, and it's one of those things to where if you need those positive triggers that constantly keep you moving forward. That's one thing about working out. I go to the gym and I could only bench press 110 pounds. Well, I came back 2 weeks later, man. Oh, wow, man, I benched 120 pounds. Well, it may not have been a big increase, but then over that period of time, and you're sitting there, I'm going, God, I'm at 225 pounds.
That's that 1% better every day.
And you don't, that's that positivity, though, constantly getting instilled in your brain. I can win. Just those little triggers every time. You may have a setback one time. Went into the gym, it's just like I got back from being out of town and that jet lag hit me.
Oh, yeah.
And I literally got to the gym and I'm sitting in the parking garage and I was like, I can't go inside. I got up, I got out of bed, I'm at the gym, and I'm sitting there having a conversation with myself in the car of get out of the damn car and go inside. No, it's just easier to sit right here, right now. I got all the excuses in the world to not go do this. I got out of the car finally after about 10 minutes of convincing myself. I got into the gym. I started my routine. It wasn't going good. I'm like, you know what? I just need to quit. I need to stop my routine. I just need to leave, go sit in the sauna and call it a day. Now I'm like, nope, I need to do one more set over here. Now I need to do one more set here. I need to do one more set here. And I finally got to where that drive was moving and I still wanted to stop, but the workout started getting more in a groove, and it started, I was just building up because I got to win. I got through that next set. I got through that, and I was like, okay, I can do this. And then finally I got to the end, and I was like, all right, what are we doing next?
Yes, it's micro goaling. You just
100%.
micro goal along the way, and it's just like a marathon, or like our buddy George will tell you about running 100 miles. It's not about running 100 miles. It's about running 1 mile 100 times.
Yeah,
and that's legit.
Yeah.
And I didn't really, that was my hardest experience with that, of mentally sitting there telling myself, just one more set, just do another set, or because I felt horrible. I was like, but a horrible workout's better than no workout is what I kept telling myself.
Well, absolutely. And like what you just said, and how you said running 100 miles, it's 1 mile 100 times. I mean, you can directly correlate that to business. Like, it's not every day that we have huge wins in our business. Like, those are like what I call like great white buffaloes. It's what we're working for. We're trying to get there. But every day when you come in and you do something that's, significant for your business, it might not have a direct ROI there, but you're building those steps and taking those actions that are going to make your business even more successful, and you're putting it in there. And even in the gym, for me, it's like delayed gratification. I know you know this too from training in HYROX. Literally dropping a minute off your time is huge because you're doing it in this context. Same thing with the business. If you make one win in your business, like, that's huge, and you got to learn to celebrate that and appreciate that. But that doesn't happen by showing up one time.
Oh, I thought you were trying to talk about delayed onset muscular soreness.
Doms, you have that too. But I'm saying, yeah, you definitely have Doms. I know.
Yeah, I got that a lot.
Doms, never heard of her. No, I'm kidding. I get it all the time. But it's those small deposits, like you said, doing what you didn't want to do has now built this foundation. And I know there's days when you're probably on the phone like, man, I don't want to have this conversation right now. But guess what? You have that conversation, you make that sale, and you move forward. And there's just such a tight correlation between that mindset. And I don't think people grasp that. I don't think they truly understand that.
Well, it goes back to the social media world too, like I was talking about in an earlier episode. Like, you always see people post the positive stuff, the really sexy stuff, right? No one's posting about, man, my workouts suck today. Here's the truth. Every one of your workouts is not going to be great. And I learned that from him. I would go in on his programming.
I'd tell him.
And I'd just get my ass handed to me. I'm like, man, I feel like shit. He's like, well, not every day has to be great. I mean, you're going to feel like dog shit a lot of times.
I just want to say, I would say today is an easy day. And then John texted me, I ran 6 minute miles. I'm like, bro, it said like 9 minute miles. Like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I just wanted to push it. But no, but
then the next day, I'm like, oh my God, I
ran
can't
an 11 minute mile.
I can't feel my legs.
Yeah.
No, but you're right. Like, not every day has to be hard. I mean, it's about consistent movement, about being structured in what you do. But you're right, man. Like, you would always push it. But I mean, that's just your mentality, right? Like, you've gone that and you've done that, and that's what made you so successful.
Well, that's also why I had to have surgery, and I'm out for the rest of the season.
Well, season's over. Season's over in a couple of days.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes in, you build that confidence. It builds to that longevity of what it is we're trying to do within business, because it is all the same. All that hard work that you're putting in every day. I know you can commit to coming in and working on your body. And you made that comment just a minute ago about that delayed gratification.
Absolutely.
That's why it's discipline.
100%.
That's why that when that person walks in the room that has done that, and you're going, that person worked on themselves that hard on a delayed gratification. I know he's willing to stick at it, or she's willing to stick at it as long as possible to get to where it is they want to be.
Absolutely.
And that always says a lot about a person that you want to, whether it's somebody you want to hire or somebody you want to do business with. So, so what would help somebody though build that, set themselves up? One, because we're all going to fail.
Absolutely.
At some point in time. But in working out, failure is tough, because what happens, our minds always goes back to the easiest thing to do. I said it all the time, just quit. The easiest path of resistance is quitting. So when it comes to working out, you go in and you kill it and you're all sore and you don't like being sore, well, now, did you push too hard? Or how do you get that person to say, no, you got to do it again. No, you got to do it, to keep that longevity going?
I think it has to do with a lot of mindset and expectations, right? Same thing with the business. Like everybody has these huge expectations, and you get, on the front line, you're like, man, this isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. It's going to be different. Same thing with the expectations in working out. Like people try to go from 0 to 100, and every workout, like John said, is supposed to be hard. The reality is, I tell everybody, I have what I call my 0 to 10 days, right? Some days I can work out at a 10. I'm holding a 620 mile compromise, but other days I don't have that energy to give, right? I might have a tough day that I have to deal with the business. I'm having to deal with clients or, some sort of conflict. I might mentally and physically only be able to give a 6, but you have to give yourself permission to understand that workout's not going to be 10 out of 10. And like John said, maybe 1 out of every 3 to 5 workouts is going to feel amazing, but that doesn't stop me from going to the gym. I have days when I got off of work, I just ran a half sim and prep for Worlds that I have to run in 2 days. It's the worst workout I've ever felt. But I also got in a fight with a patient that day, and like all sorts of stuff went on. And I said, you know what, man, I'm still going to get this done because I have to. It's not a 10 out of 10 day. I'm not impressed with my performance, but I showed up. And that showing up and knowing that I had maybe about 5 or 6 out of 10 to give, I was okay with it. And you have to accept that, because I didn't put my expectation of, if this workout doesn't go how I have planned, then I'm a terrible athlete, then I'm not going to excel at Worlds. That's simply not the truth. So you have to prepare your mind and give yourself grace that this is going to be a process. This is going to be hard. I'm not going to feel good every day. Every workout, I am not going to feel like Superman, but I'm still going to show up and I'm going to give what I have to give that day. And that might be me going on a 30-minute Zone 2 bike ride on my Concept 2 erg bike at home. That's my effort that I have, and I am physically and mentally capable of giving today, but I'm going to give it.
Well,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, and the other thing that I would add to it, and I would even challenge you, Andy, like get a goal when it comes to fitness. Like, hey, I want to run a half marathon, because I think a lot of times too, what motivates me is the goal of the next HYROX race, or Absolutely. Is the goal of running X amount of miles, or like I'm hoping to run a rim to rim to rim in the Grand Canyon this year in October. I'm looking for all these different things, right? And so
I got some friends that are about to do that, by the way. If you want to get signed up on it, I'll put you with them.
When?
I'm getting ready for this.
I want to say it's in like September.
Yeah, I'm going to do it in October. Yeah.
They're doing a rim to rim deal.
Yeah.
It's the Elliott Group's doing it.
Oh, that's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. And but literally, it's setting that goal, whether it be just a 5K for you, right? It's having that goal ahead of you.
Well, I can't do the half marathon.
Why?
Because then I feel like I didn't
do the whole marathon.
I didn't. It just mentally, and I know it's something stupid, but for me, and I know 80% of the world can't do a half marathon. That's not the point. If I'm going to commit that I'm going to do that, I'd have to do a whole marathon. So I'm not ready to commit to that. Just
December, Dallas.
Yeah. Okay. So on to another subject.
Right? We're done with fitness, boys.
Yeah. It's getting a little too pointed at me.
I love that goal, and I think that is huge. And sometimes I think that, and again, this is going to correlate to business. So many times people are afraid to jump in and just do something and set a goal. Like, I know people who have been morbidly obese who literally signed up for a Spartan race a week in advance because they said they were sick of doing it. Now that person is completely new.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to set a goal. It might be short-ended. Try to make it realistic, obviously. But sometimes it's okay to set a goal, go out there and not complete it. Like just showing up to that Spartan race, like that's hard. Even a 5K Spartan race sucks.
Yeah.
But just ripping off the Band-Aid and saying, you know what, I'm done being the person that I am now. I need to be somebody else. I have a goal. This is my goal. This is what I'm going to do it. If it's a week away, cool. Be careful. Don't hurt yourself. But at the same time, like so many people are afraid just to go after it wholeheartedly and even fall on their face. And that's the same thing with business too. People get so scared of falling on their face. And their thought is, what happens if I fail? What the hell happens if you succeed?
Yeah.
And you have to have that mindset. What happens if I succeed? What happened when that person crossed that finish line at the 5K Spartan race, morbidly obese? Guess what? They went out and started running. And now they're doing ultras, 36 milers.
Yeah.
What happens if you win? And that's what you do when you show up to the gym. Like, hey, like what happens if you keep with this? Well, what happens if you fail? Absolutely nothing. You don't go anywhere.
But the other side, what happens if you don't do anything?
Nothing.
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 You have nothing to look forward to by not trying.
Absolutely.
And that's the whole thing. It's going out there and having that mindset of, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to, I love your 1% thing, you
amazing,
you constantly hear that, hey, just get 1% better every day.
That's in my gym.
that's something measurable, because guess what? When you go down a couple of years, what just happened?
A lot.
You're a different person. Your body's constantly changing. Why not change with it? You can change your mindset all the time. You don't have to be in a bad mood. You choose to be in a bad mood. Do the hard stuff. That's what it's all about. And I like your deal though of setting those expectations for that workout, of when somebody's just getting started, but just start. That's all we're asking.
100%. And just do it. And it's nervous, and I feel like I'm a very self-aware person. I'm very self-conscious. I'm sure we all are. And I think that that's something that can actually hold people back. I'm going to let you know right now, walking into a gym, like if you're coming to my CrossFit gym and somebody judges you, come and tell me, because that's not a culture we have. We're going to support you wherever you're at. But if you go into a gym, you're so worried about everybody else looking at you. But the problem is that you fail to realize, like, somebody else is hurting. Everybody else is worried that everybody's looking at them. It's in your head. Get in there and go do it. Yep. You're going to literally psych yourself out by not getting started. If you do something wrong, guess what? I have done plenty of things wrong. So has everybody else in that gym. Yeah. And the truth is, and I had to figure this out in life, fewer people actually give a shit about you and what you're doing than you actually think. You think you're way more important than your freaking mind than you actually are.
100%.
And just go to the gym. Nobody, and I mean, people care about you. I'm not saying that. Don't go on a depression thing like you're supposed to be mental health and people don't. No. People at the gym don't give a shit about you.
Yeah.
Enough people in the gym, when they're there, you're like me. You got deep ass demons. That's why I show up. Like, they have their own demons they're fighting with. Go to the gym, stop being so freaking self-conscious, and just get started.
You want to know why I'm smiling over here?
Why?
Because I'm joining this gym in Barcelona when I'm over there. Right?
Everybody's gonna judge you.
And I'm the American, and I just had knee surgery, and what's sick? I'm working out now, training, so I could look out at the gym, and I'm like, I'm gonna show up as the American. I no wonder we got more medals than you.
Yeah.
Back-to-back World War champs. That's right. Got him. You're welcome.
That's sad.
Texas.
Oh shit.
So and all of it comes down to, we want to be at that peak performance.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's obviously what part of this conversation is about. John wants to be at peak performance when he's in Spain, at the gym.
Yeah, I'm running from the bulls, man.
That's true. You definitely running with the bulls. You got to be at peak performance, because I think we discussed this before. As long as you're the fastest in the group and the most agile, odds are you're not the one that gets run over.
But here's what I learned. I didn't realize this about the running with the bulls culture.
Yeah.
There is like some kind of like derogatory term
of being in front.
They want you by the bulls. Yeah. Otherwise, I guess I don't know how you say it, but it's like pussy.
Who are you? Yeah,
like I'm there running.
And in reality, you're not. You're running with all those other people that are out in the front that are scared.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're back there with the bulls, maybe you just do one of those deals, grab it by the horn, whip around, and jump on its back, and then that'd be rodeo.
You're gonna be reading about it. Texas man rides bull.
There's one picture of John got the bull chasing everybody. Do you like America? No.
America!
Starts running them over.
These damn Americans came and ruined the running of the bulls.
Damn cowboys.
I mean,
but being in peak health, the importance of it, what I'm getting at is, we always talk about, business is war.
Yeah.
And if you're going to war, you want to be the most fit warrior you can be. Mm-hmm. And, physically, so you're not winded, you're not tired, you've got all that energy. But I always go back to, where I'm at right now in the war I'm on, the clarity in my mind. I think better when I'm in better shape.
Yes.
Well, not only that, like you just brought up something. Who do you want to go to war with?
Oh, 100%.
Who do you want to go to war with? And that's who's going to be in your foxhole next to me. So kind of funny story. I thought I was going to get kicked out of a certain school I was at. There was an individual who was extremely out of shape, wasn't taking his job seriously, and we were partners. And I was very motivated. And I actually remember this story. Literally told him that I would not ever fucking go to war with him, that he was going to get somebody killed, and he needed to get the fuck out of this course because he was going to die one day. He was going to die, or somebody he was taking care of was going to die because he didn't give a shit. Fat, out of shape, didn't care. Direct reflection of his performance in that course. I almost got kicked out because I told him that in the middle of a course in front of an instructor. But guess what? He didn't finish that school. They kicked him out. Because eventually it came out that they felt the exact same thing. They just couldn't say it. And I did. So who do you want to go to war with? And that's the type of person. I want to be the type of person that, somebody looks at me and be like, I'll take you in my foxhole.
Yeah.
I trust you. You're there. You're physically, you're going to take care of me and handle me. And that's the truth. That's what we all should be doing. Is, you know, who do you want to go to war with, and not in the context of like, hey, John, let's jump over to Ukraine real quick and go to war. But who do you want to go through those tough times with? Somebody who takes care of
It's not
themselves.
far fetched. That's actually where my bachelor party was.
That's true.
Oh, Jesus.
I remember
Jesus.
that story.
Oh man, but like, who do you want to align with? Like somebody who you know has the discipline, the hard work ethic, who's gonna, you know, wither the test of time and trial and fire, or somebody who's gonna crumble because they don't have put any effort into themselves or what they're doing.
Right.
Well, and that guy that can run 100 miles an hour, and he's built for all those challenges
100%.
that are gonna be ahead of you.
Yeah, and I think I talked about this earlier too, like also being in shape, and this is big for me, and I know all of us in the room, like we all have amazing, you know, wives and partners. Like you have to physically be able to take care of your family.
Yeah.
You know, I have a 13-year-old daughter. My goal is to intimidate every little boy who knocks at that door. And period. Like you have to have that level of intimidation, establish that presence and that dominance. And when you walk in to a business meeting or that, and you walk in, you don't even have to say a word.
But not only that, you just set the expectation for your daughter.
Oh, absolutely.
What a man is supposed to be.
And that's why I'm
the
getting
goal.
Jack to go to the gym so
Getting
much.
Jack.
So that when he goes over to your daughter's house.
Oh man, bro, Jack isn't even afraid of me, man. Jack already knows I'm a teddy bear, bro. Like that's the thing. Like I got a soft heart. But no, to that point, you set the example, and as leaders in our companies, like we set the example who you're gonna look up to.
Yeah.
And 100%. And you know, like some little boy bench pressing 225, she's gonna be like, okay. Like, have you met my dad?
What are you saying?
Huh?
What are you saying? I just because I can.
Oh damn, I forgot about that.
Damn, dude. God, man.
No, but I'm just for aspects, right? You know,
Yeah.
it's from that role. Like she's not going to be impressed by somebody coming up to her and saying that, like, look at my dad. Same thing. Your company comes by, somebody comes in talking trash, another company, they're like, nah, look at my leader.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily from a physicality standpoint, but it's from your leadership, your mind, and essentially all these characteristics, traits that you demonstrate on a daily basis, that you practice on a daily basis in the gym.
And it changes so much.
100%.
So, well, and then it leads to, you know, you're winning constantly.
Something like
What?
that.
Well, you are in your mind. You're winning.
Oh, yes, okay.
You know.
I thought talking about HYROX. I was like, oh,
but in that same point, you know, in what you're doing and how you're training, you are winning. You are leading the way in your industry and the category that you're competing in. But what are you doing? You're attracting other winners around you.
Absolutely.
You've changed that circle of people that were originally looking to, you know, want to be around you. I know good and well. The moment I started making that transition, I started doors open that weren't open before. Why? I have no clue. I don't know what it was. Maybe because I carried myself with a little more confidence, or you know. I can't put my finger on it. I just know something changed when I changed.
Well, I will say this, like just taking it back to Talon and HYROX, like when you walk into a HYROX race with Talon, like he's like a local celebrity. Everybody knows him. He knows everybody. But if you look at the people that he knows and who he's talking to and who's coming up to him or who he's going up to, are all some of the best athletes in that room, and is consistently, whether you are in New York or you are in, you know, Anaheim, you're talking to like some of the best people in that room, right? And it's who you attract by the performance that you put out. Like, not that you're above talking to people that are running a 2-hour HYROX.
I'll talk to anybody.
But you will talk to anybody. But the people that his circle is, and that's a prime example of just his craft in general. But it's the same thing with you. Like,
absolutely.
By the way that you carry yourself or the way that I carry myself, the people that I attract within my circle are generally some of the biggest leaders within my space. And I think it's just, you know, champions want to be around champions, right?
And I agree with you. It's crazy how that all comes together, because you know, go back to what I said earlier, whether you wanted to call it that aura or your vibe or your whatever that's out there, people can see that.
Yeah.
And that presence that you're walking in, that's what's attracting them to you. You know, they can see it. So
you just reminded me of something, and this is very much true to like what we're discussing in business on that. So I was going up, and there was a new announcer. One of the announcer that goes like, "Oh, hey, that's Talon," and she's like, "How do you know all these people's names?" And he goes, "Well, when the people are on the podium so regularly, you start to get to know them." And that's in life, and that's in business.
That says a lot,
well,
right there.
And I'm not trying to brag on myself.
No, I'm just saying that's to winning in general.
In life. Like, if you're on the podium and you're winning, like, you're going to get to know them. And that's how, like, you know, relationships in mate or in business. When people see you winning, like, there's attractiveness to that.
Yeah.
And it's people want to be around people who are moving forward. And it's not that you're going to have wins all the single time. I do not win every single race I go to. All right. I just had the worst performance of my life in New York. Still got a world slot. John's not happy about it, but we'll discuss that later.
I'm not the one that's not happy.
That'll be another therapy deal.
Yeah, me and him will have more therapy later. But it's not that, you know, you win every single race, but when you start establishing excellence and people start seeing you there and people start looking and like, oh, well, there he is again. Like, you're making yourself presence known through those wins. But like, little do they know, they see a podium, which is a glimpse of what I've been doing in the gym for the last 4.5 years.
Dude,
they haven't seen they don't see me getting, you know.
It's that old iceberg.
They see me on the podium, but they don't see the work that I'm doing back at the gym, which got me to there. But that work has to be done beforehand before I ever step on the podium.
And getting that across is what we're kind of talking about
absolutely.
right here. It's all that work that you're putting in when nobody's looking.
And same thing. And that's in the gym and that's in business. I mean, how many books have you been reading?
Yeah, a lot.
A lot. And that's work that you're putting in, but like, look at your business. Like, this is the same thing. Doesn't matter, you know, gym, we're using it as sort of an analogy. It's something that we're all passionate about.
Yep.
But it's the work that you're doing that nobody sees for your business that gets you the wins. It's the work that you do for your body and for your fitness that nobody sees, that gives you the confidence, gives you the presence in a room to demand that room, to demand attention without having to say a word, without asking for it.
So, and that's the one thing I guess I want to go back to. This is one of the key points of why this subject even came up, not just because, you know, how good it is for you, of, you know, how you're going to feel and all those things. Fitness is the easiest thing to start with.
Oh, it's free.
Exactly. You can do it without having to talk to anybody. You can do it. You can just start it on your own. You just have to start it. Unlike, you know, if you're wanting to go out and start your own business, you may have to go out. You got to file, open up a company. You got to come up with a company name. You got to, you know, file an LLC. You got to, you know, there's a bunch of little steps you got to go through to start a business. But to start taking care of yourself, you can do that on your own. You don't have to go to anybody else for that. You don't even need
a gym membership.
No. Hell, you just need to put on your shoes and go outside and walk.
So obviously I'm an ER nurse at a level 1 county hospital. There's dudes who come in who are jacked. They're literally federal prisoners. They have no access to any equipment because they're violent criminals. These dudes are jacked.
Yeah.
Why? Because they do push-ups, they do sit-ups, they do air squats, they do lunges, they get creative, and they do it. Now, granted, am I saying go to federal prison to get in shape?
Wow.
No, but my whole point is it's free. You just have to have the discipline to do it. Is doing push-ups in your home on a wooden floor with a basset hound licking your face sexy? No. Do I do it in the morning when I wake up? Absolutely. I have a basset hound. His name's Copper. He's cool. But anyways, do I wake up in the morning and do push-ups?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Try to switch that to like Jamie licking your face.
I mean, that'd be kind of cool.
A lot sexier.
Yeah. His name's Copper. He's a basset hound. He's 2 feet tall. It's cool.
Dudes
but my whole point is like, it's not sexy for me to wake up in the morning every morning and for 5 minutes to do push-ups, sit-ups, air squats, and lunges.
Yeah.
But when I get to a race and I can do 50, 60, wall balls unbroken, that work paid off.
It's the only way the team was winning.
The only way the team was winning. But the whole thing is you can do it for free. You don't have to have a lot of equipment. Do you want to do it? Not do you want to do it. Are you willing to do it?
Yeah. And it goes back to that, right before we started, obviously filming today, I played that reel.
Yes, I love this.
And I don't want to play it, and I'll get it wrong because my mind, knows what it wants to say. It just sometimes doesn't always get it all out there.
I can quote it for you.
But it's, it's that fact of, I'm wanting to do this. I'm willing to commit to this. But are you really? You say you want to do it, but you don't always go out and do it. Do you want to be healthy? Do you want to do what's right for your family? Do you want to be in the best shape for your family?
Yeah.
And that's what it takes. You're always, I'm all in. Are you really all in?
Yeah.
And and I know you guys are. I mean, you guys prove it every day. That's the one thing I love about this group. You guys set a standard for me at the same time of, all right, I'm trying to, I look up to y'all for what you guys do and the workouts you do and how important it is to move up in the business that we're doing.
Yeah.
And, you guys show me all the time. So I keep posting the videos because that's usually the only, that's my workout. I get that.
I love that thumb right there. And I think the quote you said, it says, so people are so quickly easy to say that they're willing to die for their family.
Yeah.
But would you actually live for them? Would you eat healthy for them? Would you work out for them? Would you wake up early to go to the gym for them? And it's so true. I mean, you have to be willing to live. And honestly, the opposite of doing all those things is doing nothing and, you know, just waste. I don't want to hate to say this, but you're just wasting your life if you're not willing to do that for your family. You're going to die early. You're not going to be able to support them. You're not going to be able to protect them. And you're leaving your family vulnerable in some way, shape, or form.
Yep, 100%. So let's kind of wrap up from this. Just give me, you know, one thing that you just say, guys, I'm asking you to go out if you want to be, you know, a leader, and not even that you just have to be a leader, but what's that one thing to try and get them up, make that first step?
For me, it's be willing to do the things that others are not willing to do.
Yeah.
Period. If you do that and you do it daily, do it religiously, you will find yourself above the others very quickly.
Know your why. Why are you doing this?
Damn, John's always got to. He's just let me one up Talon.
That's fine.
It's just it's there, and I agree with you.
Yeah,
knowing the why is, but it goes right back to that reel that we were just talking about. You know your why. That's why you're out doing it. So we'll wrap up with it. And the whole thing I wanted to get at is, today's leadership is not just about being that guy that's out front. It's so much more, it's about your physical. It's about your mental. It's about, what are those things that you're doing in the dark that nobody actually gets to see, and being committed and disciplined enough to always do it. So
it's not easy.
No, it's not. But that's part of being obsessed and why you're watching Obsession Required. And we appreciate y'all. Yep. Man, let's call it a day and appreciate you.
That's the pod.
Yep. That's the pod.